Hi everyone. Today we're going to factor trinomial of this form x squared plus bx plus c. First, let us review multiplying two binomials. In here I have x plus m times x plus n. So we know how to multiply this. I'm going to get the x from the first group and multiply to all the terms of the other binomial. So x times x is x squared, x times n is positive nx. The next is the m to be multiplied to the other members of the other group. So m times x is mx, m times n is mn. And then I can see that the two terms in the middle has a common factor of x. So I put the common factor x outside. So the other factor will be n plus m. Or since our last term here is mn, I want to interchange the n and the m, and there will be no issue on that. So here it is now m plus n multiplied by the quantity x. So when we multiply this x plus m and the x plus n, this is our answer. So for today's topic, that we're going to factor trinomial in the form x squared plus bx plus c, and to compare with our review multiplication on top, I can say that the b here is equal to that m plus n, and the c, or the constant, is equal to that product m times n. And then later, what we want to get are factors of this form, x plus m times x plus n. Now, we will learn how to factor a trinomial of the form x squared plus bx plus c. We're going to follow some steps. Step 1. Write the factors as two binomials with first terms x, just like this. Step 2. We're going to find two numbers m and n. And this m and n will be those terms that we're going to write on the blanks in the step 1. But there are two conditions for this m and n. This is the first condition. If we multiply the m and the n, it should be equal to the c. And this c is the constant of our trinomial. The next condition is, if we add the m and n, so that is m plus n, it must be equal to b. And this b here is the coefficient of the x in the middle term of the trinomial. So once we comply the step 2, we will go now to step 3. We will use m and n as the last terms of the factors. So it will be like this now, x plus m multiplied by x plus n. And step 4, we're going to check our answers. We will check by multiplying the factors, and it must come back to its original problem or the original trinomial. Let us have some examples. Example 1. Factor the trinomial x squared plus 13x plus 30. Step 1 says, let us write the factors as two binomials with first terms x. So I wrote like this, the x plus blank and then x plus blank. In step 2, let us find two numbers m and n such that the product of these two numbers is equal to c and the sum of these two numbers is equal to b. Here is the list of factors of 30. The first is 1 and 30. The second is 2 and 15. Third, 3 and 10. Fourth, 5 and 6. Now on this column, we are going to add the factors. 1 plus 30 is 31. 2 plus 15 is 17. 3 plus 10 is 13. 5 plus 6 equals 11. As we can see here, this 13 here matches our B. It means to say the factors 3 and 10 is what we want for the m and n. So step 3, we are going to use the m and n as the last terms of the factors. So from here, the 3 and 10, we're going to put on the blanks. So it's now x plus 3 times x plus 10. Step 4 says, just to check our answer, we're going to multiply these two binomials. So x times x will give me x squared. X times 10 will be 10x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 10 is 30. In the middle terms, the 10x and the 3x, we can combine them. And the final answer is x squared plus same with our original trinomial on top. So what does it mean? It only means our answer here is correct. And this is our final answer. Let us have example 2. Factor x squared minus 11x plus 24. Step 1. Let us write the factors as two binomials with first terms x. So x plus blank multiplied by x plus a blank. Step 2. Let us now find the two numbers m and n. We are looking for the factors of 24, and here are the factors. 1 and 24, negative 1 and negative 24, 2 and 12, negative 2 and negative 12, 3 and 8, negative 3 and negative 8, 4 and 6, negative 4 and negative 6. And then on this column, we are going to add the factors. 1 plus 24 is 25. Negative 1 plus negative 24 is negative 25. 2 plus 12 is 14. Negative 2 plus negative 12 is negative 14. 3 plus 8 is 11. Negative 3 plus negative 8 is negative 11. 4 plus 6 is 10. Negative 4 plus negative 6 is negative 10. We can see now that this negative 11 as the sum matches our value of b. So it means to say we're going to use the m and n as the last terms of the factors. That is the step 3. This negative 3 and negative 8 are our m and n respectively. So we're going to put these two values on the blanks. So this is now our binomials. X minus 3 times x minus 8. In step 4, if our answer is correct, by multiplying these two binomials. So we have now x times x is x squared. X times negative 8 is negative 8x. Then negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Then negative 3 times negative 8 is positive 24. And then the middle terms, we can see that they are like terms that we can combine. So we have now the final answer, x squared minus 11x plus 24. And our answer here is the same with our original trinomial on top. It means, and that is our final answer. Let us have example 3. Factor the trinomial x squared minus 2x minus 35. Step 1. Write the factors as two binomials with first terms x. So here it is, x plus blank times x plus blank. And then let us find two numbers, m and n. So we're going to find the factors of this negative 35. So the factors of negative 35 are on this column. First pair is 1 times negative 35. Second is negative 1 times 35. Third, 5 times negative 7. Fourth, negative 5 times 7. On this column, we're going to add the factors. 1 plus negative 35 is negative 34. Negative 1 plus 35 is 34. 5 plus negative 7 is negative 2. Negative 5 plus 7 equals 2. But we're looking for a sum that is equal to the b, and here it is, the negative 2. It means to say, we're going to the step 3 to use the m and n, these two terms here, this pair of factors to be placed on the blanks. So here it is now, we have the x plus 5 times x minus 7. So step 4, we will check our answer if correct by multiplying these two factors. And we will hope that the answer will be same with our trinomial here. So multiplying the x and the x, that is x squared, x times negative 7 is negative 7x. Then 5 times x is positive 5x. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. So we're going to combine the two terms in the middle, the negative 7x and the 5x. We will have a negative 2x. So our final answer here is x squared minus 2x minus 35. And we can see that the answer here is the same with our original trinomial on top. It means to say the binomials x plus 5 times x minus 7 are correct and considered to be our final answer. Let us have example 4. Let us factor x squared minus 6x plus 10. Step 1, I'm going to put here the x plus blank and then times x plus blank. Step 2, let us find two numbers m and n, the factors of 10, such that later on we will add them to get a value of b. So on this column, the factors of 10 are 1 and 10, negative 1 and negative 10, 2 and 5, negative 2 and negative 5. In this column, we're going to add each pair of factors. 1 plus 10 is 11. Negative 1 plus negative 10 is negative 11. 2 plus 5 is 7. Negative 2 plus negative 5 equals negative 7. As we can see here, there are no pair of factors of 10 to get a sum of negative 6. In this case, we will say that this trinomial is non-factorable, and this will be our answer here. Let us put some notes here. We know that we are factoring a trinomial that is equal to two binomials, and that is x plus m times x plus n. If c is positive, the c here is the constant of our trinomial. It means to say the m and n. The m and n are here, should have the same sign. It can be both positive or both negative. Look at our previous examples 1 and 2. In example 1, the constant is 30 and positive. So look at our factors here. The 3 and 10 are both positive. Also, the sign of the b will tell us that the signs of the m and n should be both positive. Let's have example 2. The constant is positive 24. So look at our m and n. They have the same signs and both negative. Considering the sign of the b here, since it is negative, it gives us idea that these two binomials in the m and n should have both negative also. Now, if c is negative, the m and n should have different signs. Look at our example 3. Our constant here is negative 35. The values of m and n have different signs. One is positive, the other is negative. And there is another clause here. The bigger number between m and n should have same sign with b. So the numbers 5 and 7, 7 is bigger, and because the sign of the b is negative, the 7 as the bigger number will have the negative sign also. We have these steps. Step 1. Write the factors as two binomials with first terms x. So our trinomial here equals x plus blank y times x plus blank y. We are going to find the coefficients of y respectively. So for step 2a, we're going to write all factor pairs of c. Note that c here is the coefficient of y squared. Step 2b. Add these factor pairs respectively. Then look for the sum equal to b. Note again that this b is the coefficient of xy. Once found, say m plus n equals b. These are the corresponding coefficients of y in the factors. For step 3, the factors are x plus my times x plus ny. Example 1. Factor out x squared minus 2xy minus 80y squared. First, we write the factors as x plus blank y times x plus blank y. We're going to find the corresponding coefficients of y. We will write all factor pairs of c. In our trinomial here, the c is, considering that this is negative, it means the factors must be of opposite signs. So let's write the factor pairs. Let's write the factor pairs from the smallest up to biggest. So we have 1 times negative 80, negative 1 times positive 80, 2 times negative 40, negative 2 times 40, 4 times negative 20, negative 4 times 20, 5 times negative 16, negative 5 times positive 16, 8 times negative 10, negative 8 times 10. Next is add these factor pairs, and the sums are here respectively. We look now for the sum equal to b. Our b here is negative 2, and the negative 2 is here. Once found, this factor pair is the corresponding coefficients of y in the factors, meaning we have 8 and negative 10. We will write this in the blanks. So finally, our factors are x plus 8y times x minus 10y. This is the final answer. Example 2. Factorize r squared minus 8rs minus 9s squared. We write our initial factors as r plus blank s multiplied by r plus blank s. Let us find the corresponding coefficients of s. We will write all factor pairs of c. The c here is negative 9. Considering that this is negative, it means the factor pair must be of opposite sign. So, the factors are 1 times negative 9, negative 1 times 9, 3 times negative 3. Then we add these factor pairs respectively, and the sums are here. Then we will look for the sum equal to b. Our b here is negative 8, and the negative 8 is here. Once found, this factor pair is the corresponding coefficients of s in the factors. So, we substitute these numbers on the blanks. So finally, the factors are r plus s times r minus 9s. This is the final answer. How do we factor a trinomial of this form? We are going to follow some steps. Step 1 is factor any greatest common factor, or GCF. Step 2, find the product AC. This AC means the A, the coefficient of x squared, and the c, the constant of the trinomial. Step 3, we're going to find two numbers m and n, such that if we multiply the m and n, this is equal to the AC. This AC coming from step 2. Also, if we add the m and n, we can see it is m plus n. It must be equal to the b. And this b is the coefficient of the x in the middle term of the trinomial. Step 4, split the middle term using m and n. It means to say the ax squared plus bx plus c will become like this: ax squared plus mx plus nx plus c. Step 5, we're going to factor by grouping. Let us have example 1. Let us factor out 10x squared minus 55x plus 70. Step 1 says, let us factor any greatest common factor. For this trinomial, we can see that there is a common factor of 5. So we can factor out that number 5. So what remains in the first term will be 2x squared. For the second term, now becomes negative 11x. And the third term, 70, will become 14. Step 2, let us find the product AC. After removing the greatest common factor, we have now our new trinomial here to be 2x squared minus 11x plus 14. Now taking the AC, it means the a, which is the coefficient of x squared, it is 2, and the c is the constant 14. Now multiplying the a and c, 2 times 14 equals 28. In step 3, we're going to find two numbers that when we multiply these two numbers m and n, it must be equal to 28. But if we add the m and n, it must be equal to the b. And this b is the coefficient of the middle term of the trinomial. After considering many pairs of factors, it was found that the negative 4 and the negative 7, if we multiply, will be equal to 28. Also, if we add the negative 4 and the negative 7, it is equal to negative 11. So the 28 here is the product AC, and the negative 11 is the B. So step 4, we're going to split the middle term using m and n. It means to say, we're going to rewrite this trinomial, but the middle term, we must split it using this m and n here. So as you see now, in this line, the 5 is copied. The 2x squared is copied down here. The negative 11x is now split into negative 4x and negative 7x. And then plus the constant 14. And in step 5, we're going to factor by grouping. So we have here 4 terms. We're going to group the first 2 and also the last 2. So the 2x squared minus 4x is now in one group. the negative 7x plus 14 is in another group. And using that factor by grouping, we are going to factor out a common factor or greatest common factor for these two terms. Also, we will do the same on the next group. So in here we can see that 2x is the GCF, so we put the 2x outside. What remains inside for this term will be x, and for the negative 4x, what remains is the negative 2. If we want to check if our factoring are correct, we can multiply 2x times x. We will get back the 2x squared, and then 2x times negative 2, we will get the negative 4x back. Now for the second group, we want this x to be positive, so we're going to factor out a negative 7. So when we factor out the negative 7, what remains here will be positive x. And for the positive 14, what remains is a negative 2. Again, just to check if these factors are correct, we can multiply and see if we can get the original binomial back. So the negative 7 times x is negative 7x, and negative 7 times the negative 2 is positive 14. So we are sure that these factors are correct. And now we have two big groups here, and we can see that there is a common factor for these two big groups, and that common is the binomial x minus 2. So we can factor that x minus 2 out. It will be like this. First, we copy the number 5. Now this common x minus 2 we'll put in here, and on the second factor we will collect the remaining terms after removing the common factor. So 2x is copied here, and then the negative 7. So for our answer, the factors are 5 and x minus 2 and 2x minus 7. So this is our final answer. Let us have example 2. Factor out 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. Step 1 says, let us factor any GCF. But there is no GCF here. So we will proceed with step 2. We're going to find the product AC. The coefficient of x squared is the a, and that is 6. The constant 2, that is the c, we will multiply here. 6 times 2 equals 12. And then step 3, we're going to find two numbers, and these two numbers are factors of 12. And at the same time, if we add the two numbers, it must be equal to b, and that b is that number 7. After considering many pairs of factors, we found that 3 times 4 equals 12, and that is the AC, and 3 plus 4 equals 7, and that is the B. So now we're going to split this middle term using the m and n. So the 3 and the 4 are our m and n respectively. So writing this again, 6x squared is here. Instead of writing 7x, we will now write 3x plus 4x, and then plus the constant 2. Step 5, we are now to factor by grouping. We're going to group the first two terms and then group the last two terms. we're going to factor out the GCF for these two terms. We can see that 3x is common. So what remains in the first term, 6x squared, is 2x, and then plus 1. We can check if our factors are correct. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times 1 is positive 3x. For the second group, the common factor is 2. So we remove the number 2 outside. And what remains with the 4x is 2x. And then for the 2, it becomes 1. Again, let us check ourselves if the factors are correct. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 1 is positive 2. So we are sure that these factors are correct. Now, we have two big groups here. And there is a common in these two big groups. And the common is that binomial 2x plus 1. There is also 2x plus 1 here. So we're going to factor out the 2x plus 1. It is now in here. And for the second factor, it is simply the remaining terms for each of the big groups. So the 3x is copied here and then plus the 2. So our factors, 2x plus 1 times the 3x plus 2. Example 3. Factor out 2m squared plus 11m plus 12. We multiply AC. A here is 2 and C is 12. So AC is 2 times 12 and the product is 24. Then we write all factor pairs of 24. That means we also consider the sign of the middle term. The middle term here is positive 11m. So, because this is positive, we will only consider the positive factors of 24. So the factor pairs are 1 and 24, 2 by 12, 3 by 8, 4 by 6. Then we add these factor pairs respectively. So we have 25, 2 and 12 is 14, 3 by 8 is 11, 4 by 6 is 10. Next, then we look for the sum equal to b. B here means the coefficient of the middle term, which is positive 11, and it is here. Thus, the factor pair that we need is the 3 and 8. Now we're going to rewrite the trinomial, but split the middle term using the corresponding factor pair. So the 2m squared is here, the 11m becomes 3m plus 8m, and the plus 12 we copy down here. So from trinomial, it becomes polynomial. We will now solve this by factoring by grouping. We now group the first two terms, then we group the last two. And from here, we find the common factor for each of the group. In the first group, the common is m. So we factor it out. We have m times 2m plus 3. In the second group, the common is 4. So we have 4 times 2m plus 3. We have here now two big groups. The common is the binomial 2m plus 3. So we factor out the common 2m plus 3. We have now 2m plus 3 times this m here and then plus 4. This is now the final answer. Example 4. Factor out 3m squared plus 8m plus 4. Let's multiply AC. A is 3, C is 4. So AC is 3 times 4 and the product is 12. Let us write all factor pairs of 12. We consider the sign of the middle term. The middle term is positive 8m. Since this is positive, we will write only the factor pair of 12, all positive. So the factors are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Then we add these factor pairs respectively. So we have 1 and 12 is 13, 2 by 6 is 8, 3 plus 4 is 7. Next, we look for the sum equal to b. Our b here is the positive 8, the coefficient of the middle term, and it is here. Therefore, we need this factor pair 2 and 6. Then we rewrite this trinomial, but we split the middle term using the factor pair. So we have the 3m squared is here. Now the 8m becomes 2m plus 6m. Remember, we are using this factor pair. And then the plus 4 is here. Then we will solve this by factoring by grouping. We group the first two terms and the last two terms as one. Then we find the common factor for each of the group. So in the first group, common is m. So we have m times 3m plus 2. In the second group, common is the 2. So this is 2 times 3m plus 2. We have here now two big groups, and there's a common factor. That is the binomial 3m plus 2. We can factor it out. So we have 3m plus 2 times this m plus 2. This is now the final answer. Example 5. Factor out 3m squared minus 13m plus 4. Let us multiply AC. A is 3 and C is 4. So we have AC equals 3 times 4 equals 12. Then we write all factor pairs of AC. But we will consider the sign of the middle term. We have here negative 13m. Take note that this is negative. Therefore, the factor pairs of AC or this 12 must all be negative. So we have negative 1 by negative 12, negative 2 by negative 6, negative 3 by negative 4. Then we add these factor pairs respectively. So we have negative 13, negative 8, negative 7. Then we look for the sum equal to b. We said that this b is the coefficient of the middle term. The negative 13 is here. Therefore, we need this factor pair, the negative 1 and negative 12. We're going to rewrite now this trinomial, but split the middle term using this factor pair. So we have this 3m squared. This negative 13m becomes negative m minus 12m. And the plus 4 is here. Now, let us solve this by factoring. We're going to group the first two terms and another group for the last two. So the first two terms, we have this group. And for the second group, please be careful. We're going to do like this. This negative 12m plus 4, when we put it inside the grouping symbol, the negative sign is outside. So the negative 12m becomes positive 12m. The positive 4 becomes negative 4. And from here, we factor out the common. In the first group, the common is m. So we have m times 3m minus 1. In the second group, the common is 4. So we factor it out. What remains is 3m minus 1. We have now these two groups, and the common is the binomial 3m minus 1. So we can factor it out. So we have 3m minus 1 times m and then minus 4. This is now the final answer. Let us have more sample problems. Problem 1. Factor each trinomial of the form x squared plus 5x plus c. We have here two expressions. Let's begin with A. P squared plus 11p plus 30. Using the variable p, that means the answer must be of this form. P plus blank times P plus blank. The blanks here represents numbers. So let's begin with our process. First, we identify C, the constant, to be 30. And then, we are going to write the factor pairs for this number 30. Since the middle term is positive, we will only consider those positive numbers. So we have 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. And on the next column, we're going to add the factors respectively. So we have 31, 17, 13, 11 respectively. And from here, we note that the b value is 11, the coefficient of p. Now we're looking for this number 11 in this column, and here it is. And this number 11 corresponds to the factor pair 5 and 6. These are the values that we will write in here. So we have p plus 5 times p plus 6. This is the final answer. Example B, 6n minus 7 plus n squared. From here, we're going to rearrange such that the power 2 will come in the first term. So we have now like this, n squared plus 6n minus 7. Using the variable n, the answer must be n plus blank times n plus blank. Let us now proceed with our procedure. We collect the value of c, that is a constant, the negative 7. Now we are going to write the factor pairs for this negative 7. Since this is negative, the factors must be of opposite signs. So we have 1 and negative 7, and then negative 1 and positive 7. Then, taking the sum of factor pairs, we have here negative 6 and positive 6 respectively. Considering the value of b, the coefficient of n here, that is 6, we are looking for this positive 6 in this column. And here it is. That means this positive 6 corresponds to the factor pair negative 1 and 7. These are the numbers that we need in here for the blanks. Finally, we have n minus 1 times n plus 7. This is the final answer. Problem 2. Factor each trinomial of the form x squared plus bxy plus cy squared. Let's begin with A. We have here p squared minus 2pq minus 35q squared. For the answer, we should have like this: p plus blank q times p plus blank q. We need the numbers for the blanks respectively. First, we collect the value of c. In here, the value is negative 35. Again, this is negative. That means for the factor pairs, the values or the pairs must be of opposite signs. So we have 1 and negative 35. Also, negative 1 and 35. Next, 5 and negative 7. Also, negative 5 and positive 7. Then we go for the sum. We're going to add the factors. We have negative 34, positive 34, negative 2, positive 2. Considering the b, the coefficient of this PQ, that is negative 2. We are now looking for this negative 2 on this column. So here it is. That means this negative 2 corresponds to the factor pair 5 and negative 7. And these values are what we need on the blanks. Finally, we have P plus 5Q times P minus 7Q. Expression B, x squared minus 13xy minus 14y squared. The answer must be x plus blank y times x plus blank y. Let's begin with our process. We collect the value of c, and that is the negative 14. Since this is negative, the factor pairs must be of opposite signs. So we have 1 and negative 14, negative 1 and 14, 2 and negative 7, negative 2 and positive 7. Then we go for the sum, and we have negative 13, positive 13, negative 5, positive 5, respectively. Considering the b, that is the negative 13, we will look for this value on this column, and this negative 13 is coming here. That means it corresponds to the factor pair positive 1 and negative 14. These are the values that we will write on the blanks respectively. So finally we have x plus y times x minus 14y. This is the final answer. Problem 3. Factor each trinomial by AC method. Letter A, 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. We know that 3 is the A, B is 5, and C is this positive 2. AC here means we multiply the 3 and the 2. And the answer is 6. From this number 6, we write the factor pairs. So we have 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Since the middle term is positive, we only consider the positive factors. Then we write the sum of factor pairs. We have 7 and 5 respectively. Considering the middle term or the b to be 5, looking for number 5 on this column, it corresponds to the factor pair 2 and 3. And this is what we will do next. We're going to write again our problem down here, but in the middle term, we will rewrite this using the factor pair. So it becomes like this. The 3x squared is here. For the 5x, we split it into 2x plus 3x. And this plus 2 is coming here. Then we do factoring here by grouping. We group the first two and we group the last two terms. In the first group, the factors will be x times 3x plus 2. And the second group, there is no common factor except 1, so simply we copy it down. Then we have two big groups, and the binomial 3x plus 2 is common. We can pull it out times this x and then plus 1. We copy this answer below problem A. Let's go to B, 3x squared plus x minus 10. For the AC, meaning we take the number 3 times the negative 10. And the answer is negative 30. Now we write the factor pairs. Note that for this negative 30, since this is negative, factors must be of opposite signs. We will have a long list of factors. That means we will just simply select some of the factors. Let's say 1 and negative 30, negative 1 and 30, 5 and negative 6, negative 5 and 6, and so on. Taking the sum of the factor pairs, we have negative 29, positive 29, negative 1, positive 1 respectively. Considering the value of b, the coefficient of x, and that is 1. And we look this 1 in this column, and here it is. It corresponds to the factor pairs -5 and 6. Next thing we do, we copy the same problem down here. But in the middle term, we will split this positive x using the factor pair. So we have 3x squared. The positive x here becomes -5x plus 6x. Then the -10 is copied also here. Let us now factor the four terms by grouping. We group the first two and we group the last two. For the first group, the factors are x times 3x minus 5 plus, for the second group, the factors are 2 times 3x minus 5. We have now two big groups, and the 3x minus 5 is common. We can pull it out, multiplied by this x, and then plus 2. So finally, this is the final answer, 3x minus 5 times x plus 2. Problem 4. Factor each trinomial by AC method. Letter A, 6y squared plus y minus 15. Using the AC, we multiply the number 6 by this -15, and the product is -90. Then we write the factor pairs. With this big number -90, we will have a multiple pairs. But take note, there is only one pair that we need, and that is -9 times 10. And when we get the sum, the answer is 1. Note that this 1 is the value of b, the coefficient of y. And the next step is we write again the trinomial, except in the middle term, we will split this using this factor pair. So we have 6y squared, the first term. This positive y now becomes -9y plus 10y. Then we copy the -15. Next, we factor this by grouping. We group the first two, we group the last two. For the first group, the factors are 3y times 2y minus 3. For the second group, common is 5 times 2y minus 3. And we can see that for the two groups, the binomial 2y minus 3 is common. We can pull it out times this 3y and then plus 5. This is the answer for expression A. Let's go to B, 6n squared minus n minus 2. By AC, we multiply 6 by -2, and the answer is -12. Then we write the factor pairs respectively. We have 1 and -12, -1 by 12, 2 and -6, -2 by 6, 3 and -4, -3 and 4. Now we take the sum, and we have -11, +11, -4, +4, -1, +1. Considering the value of b, which is -1, we found the -1 to be here. That corresponds to the factor pair 3 and -4. Next step, we copy again the original problem, except in the middle term, we split this -n using our factor pair 3 and -4. So it becomes like this, the 6n squared, and then the -n becomes plus 3n minus 4n. And then we copy also the -2. And from here, we will do factoring by grouping. We group the first two, we group the last two. For the first group, factors are 3n times 2n plus 1. For the second group, the common is -2 times the binomial 2n plus 1. For these two big groups, the binomial 2n plus 1 is common. We can pull it out, then multiplied by this 3n, and then minus 2. This is now the answer for letter B.